to our respected lecturer, Madam Farah Aida binti Fazil, and beloved audience. Welcome back to Info Daily with sharing of information daily. So today we are going to talk about a very serious issue that has been talked for centuries, which is sexual assault. But before we start elaborating furthermore, let us start by introducing the panels for today's forum. The first panel beside me is Dato' Aina Shuhaida, Ministry of Women, Family and Community Development. And the second one honoring us today is Dr. Shafiq Azizi, a military psychologist. Ooh. And the next panel looking extremely smart here right now is Madam Hazira from Child Welfare Development. And last but not least, Miss Nona Mila, an experienced lawyer. So, ladies and gentlemen, sexual assault is defined as any consensual contact involving force upon a person without consent. And sexual assault does not only affect a person physically but also their mental health. And not only they have effects like cuts and bruises, but they are also affected and they will have mental health problems such as anxiety, depression and trauma. And it does not only cause them to suffer, but it is also very hard to heal. So for today's forum, we hope that we could give deeper understanding to people regarding this issue and give people awareness and knowledge of the effects of sexual assault and what to do if these cases ever happen to you or your beloved ones. So let us start our forum by asking Dato' Aina, can you tell us about sexual assault against women in general and the types of sexual assault against women?
Thank you, Shazal, for the creations. As the Ministry of Women, Family and Community Development, I would like to talk about sexual assaults against women, since women are 4 times likely to experience sexual assaults than men. Sexual assaults against women by anyone is always wrong, whether the abuser is someone you date, your past or current spouse, your family members or strangers. There's a lot of types of sexual assaults against women. Any types of sexual contact with someone who cannot consent, such as someone is underage, has an intellectual disability, rape, even forcing someone to pose for sexual picture is called sexual assault. All these types of sexual assaults can happen anywhere and anytime, including at workplace. Approximately 80% of women in Malaysia has experienced the sexual assault in workplace. So women out there should be more extra careful and don't be afraid to uphold the justice when you're being sexualized. Thank you.
Thank you, Dato' Aina, for your elaboration. I agree with Dato' Aina's statement. For generations, women had been living in fear for our safety no matter where we are. But talking about fear, it does not only affect women but also men. So, Dr. Shafiq, as the only male panelist amongst this panel today, I would like to ask your opinion of sexual assaults that happen to men.
Thank you to the lovely moderator for the question.
Okay.
Now, talking about sexual harassment, men or boys are usually not the first thing that pops in our mind. It can't be denied that females are more associated as sexual harassment victims compared to men. When we discuss about sexual assault, men are usually categorized as the perpetrator, not as a victim. But as a male myself, I had been sexually assaulted numerous times, and as a military psychologist, I had heard countless reports about my friends about getting sexually assaulted in the military. Now, why does this happen? Why does male getting sexually assaulted, being the victim, is something that uncommon and abnormal? Why does people keep forgetting the fact that males also get sexually assaulted without the consent? Luckily to us, there had been a research done by the people from the Health and Human Rights Organization with the University of California about the factors that contribute to the misperception of male sexual victimization. And the first factor is the reliance on traditional gender stereotypes. When we discuss about sexual assault, there will always be a male perpetrator and female victim paradigm. There is also an assumption that when we hear about sexual assault, the fact that the woman is the one that is assaulted is almost non-existent, and the fact that males are considered, when they are getting a sexual assault, they get less harm when compared to females, and males, they welcome sex 24/7. Now, these are the assumptions that people take when we talk about sexual assault. They believe that when males are getting sexually assaulted, they believe that the male should take that as a compliment and they are considered lucky because they got assaulted by a woman. This is completely wrong. This is the mentality of our generations, but not only in this generation, but in the previous generations. Now, for the second factor is due to outdated and inconsistent definition. For the audience information, there are still some federal agencies that still use outdated definition, and they categorize harm on women and they prioritize the harm on women and exclude the definition for men, such as the definition of rape, where the definition of rape must consist of the penetration of vagina. And guess what? Women don't have vagina. So luckily for us, we don't have to worry about getting raped, right? Totally absurd. Not only that, we as a man, during our childhood, we have been taught about the definition of man, what makes a man a male. So, as a man, you must be strong. Never show your weak side. So because of this, it is totally impossible for a man to be sexually assaulted by other males, or worse, females. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the main reason why there are so many hidden unknown cases of male rapes. And last but not least, why there is a misperception of male sexual victimization is due to the methodological sampling and bias that exclude inmates. When we discuss about sexual victimization, like just now, the setting that we say is usually at the workplace or at our homes. But do you know that when we do this is called a methodological sampling, a methodological bias, where we don't actually take part every single places that we should actually take account. For example, the place where there are many people who are at great risk of getting sexual assault, which is at the military. For information, I, as a military psychologist, had been hearing about people, about male especially, getting sexually assaulted at the military daily, monthly, weekly. So you can tell me how many times. Even I myself has lost count of it. So as a conclusion, I would like to gather everyone's attention to the full spectrum, to the full meaning of sexual victimization, where not only female can get them, but also males. When the society is looking at you as a person of strength, as a person who must never show their weak side, but when suddenly you are getting ridiculed by a humiliating scene or a very embarrassing thing, you will be no leader can withstand humiliation. So remember, ladies and gentlemen, heterosexist bias is a very dangerous thing. It is all from me. Thank you.
From Dr. Shafiq's and Dato Aina's point of view, we can conclude that both men and women can become the victim and the perpetrator. In this context, the violence does not end here. There is a party that will always be the victim, which are the children. There aren't any days goes by without us hearing of cases and news regarding to pedophilia. So let's elaborate furthermore by asking Madam Madam Hazira, about her opinion regarding abuse that happened to children.
Okay, so thank you, moderator. And good morning, everyone. So without wasting any time, I will elaborate about sexually abuse among family. Okay, so basically, it can be divided into two groups of people, which is the first one is children, which range of age from 0 to 12 years old, and the second one is adolescents, which the range of age is from 13 to 18 years old. So the difference between these two groups of people is, for children, they are still young and they are confused and not knowing what to do, because as they are children, they're supposed to do what their parents tell them to do. As a children, they easily get manipulated by the perpetrator for things like it is normal to go through this phase of life. So they still doesn't understand the concept of sexually abuse. So as a mother, you have to be sensitive towards your children behavioral changes. And as for the second group, which is adolescent, they are already matured and understand enough about the concept of sexually abuse. So because of that, they are more aware of the potential of negative reactions amongst their family, especially when the perpetrator is amongst the family members or is known amongst the family members. So basically, this group of people are at the increased risk of depression and self-harm. So self-harm is not a way to go. So basically, things that you can do is first, talk to a counselor. But if you are uncomfortable with the counselor, change your counselor until you find the counselor that you are comfortable to talk to. And for the second one is tell an adult. Keep telling until they do something for you, because not all adults will trust you, because some of the adults, they will try to defend the abuser. And for the third one, find a friend that you feel connected with, that you can talk to. Last but not least, you can make a difference. Sexual assault can be hard to think and to discuss about. So it is important for you to address this issue and educate yourself about this issue. If something has happened and you are not sure about what to do, please report it, so that the children that have been abused will get the help that they need. So the more you love your children, the more they will love others. So thank you.
Alright, thank you, Madam Hazira, for the elaboration. Children are indeed vulnerable and they always depend on their family. But now talking about families, what are the sexual assault that happens in family? So we would like Miss Nabila to elaborate more and share of your opinion regarding this matter.
Okay, first of all, thank you to our moderator for having me today in discussing this issue. So regarding our issue, sexual assault, when we're talking about this issue, most of us will think that sexual assault happen when we are outside of our house or when we are alone. But to what extent do we aware that sexual assault also happens among married couples, which is called marital rape in general? Okay, so this issue happens when the solicitation of sex is done via threat, force, or intimidation that causing hurt to the wife. And okay, what are the effects of this marital rape? Okay, marital rape can bring short-term and long-term effects toward the victims. So why this is important? Because I personally, as a lawyer, I have met a lot of people that argue why marital rape should be criminalized. Why? And in my opinion, this issue brings the same serious impact toward the victims as well as the other sexual assault. Okay, so next, I would like to share about one of the action taken by the national organization, which is in the United Nations Convention in the elimination of any form of discrimination against women. they have suggested that criminalization has to be taken in marital rape. However, Malaysia has yet to ratify criminalization in marital rape. In my opinion, this is absolutely wrong. First, I would like to share about the laws that is used regarding marital rape in Malaysia. In Malaysia, we are using Section 375A, which provide punishment to a husband which solicits sex via intimidation towards their wife, which can cause hurt to their wife. But the maximum law stated that maximum punishment is just 5 years of imprisonment. So for me, in my point of view as a lawyer, I see that this is very not acceptable because people who are guilty may be facing a very light punishment. And if you guys want to know, in Malaysia, most of us have this kind of mindset which says that if you are married, then you are likely to be given yourself to your husband, so you must listen to him. This is completely wrong. So this is why marital rape is increasing, and Malaysia has not ratified the true law in enforcing marital rape. So that's all from me.
Alright. So, ladies and gentlemen, we had dig deeper into this issue by discussing about the concept of sexual assault that happened to women, men, and children. Now let us discuss about the effects of sexual assault towards the victims. So, Dato' Aina, can you tell us how can victims be affected by the sexual assault?
Thank you, moderator, for the question. So, sexual assault gives really bad effects for the victims. The negative effects of sexual assault are well known, and it includes the negative mood, eating disorder, alcohol abuse, and lower overall mental health. Besides that, sexual assaults may lead to health problems. After being sexualized, they might have higher blood pressure. So high blood pressure can lead to more serious disease. And sexual harassment was also linked to higher levels of triglycerides and a key factor for heart disease. Thank you.
Alright. Thank you, Dato', for your elaboration. And I agree with your opinion that sexual assault really gives major effects on victims, not only physically but also their mental health. In fact, it can cause them to have long-term trauma, especially if it also happens to children. They'll be facing a lot of difficulties growing up. So let us ask Hazira, Madam Hazira, of the observable signs in children who have been abused, and how do we as parents or adults interact with them?
Okay, so some of the observable signs that you can see in the children that have been abused is first, frequent masturbation, second, sleep difficulty, third, cruelty towards animal, and then excessive and unexplained crying, bedwetting, eating disorder. Okay, so for the second question, which is how to interact towards the children that have been abused, is first one, ask the children to identify their body parts, and then second one, listen to which kind of words that they use to describe their body parts, and then the third one, discuss about the concept of private parts and ask if anyone has touched their body parts, and then if yes, investigate further about them and ask who has touched their private parts. So that's all.
Alright. So, dear beloved audience, we had reached the end of our show, sadly, and I would like to thank all of our panels today and to the audience also who is watching us throughout the show. and the discussion from the beginning to the end. By listening to the panel's explanation of the assault, we can conclude that this case must be taken seriously. We need to acknowledge that it is happening and it affects the victim not only physically but also mentally. And the government should enforce the law so that the perpetrator can be punished severely and people would not be living in fear for their safety. Okay. Next, we need to change our mindset of male sexual victimization, because an act without consent is an assault regardless of gender, right? And moreover, adults, especially parents, must be alert of changes of behavior towards children, as sexual abuses are more likely to be in our surroundings. Not only that, marital rape do exist and we cannot be ignorant about it. And last but not least, victims should always seek help from the authorities and not be afraid to lodge a report. The authorities will help you. So I'm Shaza, your moderator for today, and see you tomorrow.